Hi. So let's look at the JIPMAT paper pattern and the important topics to study in various sections of JIPMAT. So if we talk about the paper pattern, there are three sections. The first is quantitative ability, the next is logical reasoning, and the third is verbal ability. Quantitative ability and logical reasoning has 33 questions and verbal ability has 34 questions. So total there are 100 questions to be attempted in 150 minutes. If we talk about the marking scheme, every question is for +4 marks and -1 is a penalty for every incorrect. There is no sectional time limit, which means you can choose from which section you want to start. Ideally, you should start from your strength. In IIM Jammu, which accepts JIPMAT score, there is a very bare minimum sectional cutoff, but IIM Bodh Gaya focused only and only on the overall cutoff. Let's look at each section one by one. So if we talk about quantitative ability, so you have almost everything that would be there in various exams except for the fact that higher difficulty level questions are not tested in the JIPMAT quantitative ability section. So you have numbers which will include divisibility and HCF LCM, percentages, SI, CI, simple interest, compound interest, profit and loss. You'll have ratio proportion, mixtures, delegation and averages, time, speed, distance and time and work. Basically entire numbers and arithmetic. Then you will be tested on permutation, combination, probability. If you talk about linear and quadratic equation, then you have sequence and series. That's basically arithmetic progression, you can say that. Then you have functions and inequality, set theory, trigonometry, the basics of trigonometry, not very detailed, which is there in IPMAT and all. Then you have question on geometry, mensuration and logarithm. So these are the heavily tested topic in JIPMAT section of JIPMAT paper of quantitative ability. So out of 33 questions, you can say 31 question will be only from this area. So this is the majority of the syllabus of quant section of JIPMAT. Moving ahead, if we move to the verbal ability section, then obviously you will be tested on reading comprehension, fill in the blank, error detection, which is nothing but as grammar, vocabulary. In vocabulary, they test you on antonyms, synonyms, analogy. Sometimes they test you on phobias and one-word substitutions and various different types of vocabulary question. Then connector is something which is tested in JIPMAT and it is not tested in any other IPMAT paper, or you can say NPAT or SET for that matter. Okay, the connector is something which is tested only and only in JIPMAT. Then questions on active voice, passive voice, direct, indirect voice. Again, it is not tested in the majority of the exam. So JIPMAT is one of the major exam which test you on active, passive and direct, indirect voice, and parajumbles is something that you are being tested on. Moving ahead to logical reasoning, so they test you on arrangement, sitting arrangement, puzzles, groups and conditionalities, coding, decoding, number and alphabet series, sequential input output, direction sense, then clocks and calendar, obviously, blurred relation, data interpretation. Quantitative comparison is something that they test you here, which is so quantitative comparison is tested in JIPMAT and in NPAT paper, is not tested in any other paper. Logical connectives, which is being tested here, basically the questions on if else type, if then types, not if else, if then, and the logical connectives basically. Then odd one out is something which is again tested in JIPMAT, not in Rohtak and NPAT. And verbal reasoning questions on syllogism, statement assumption, cause effect, conclusion, strengthening, weakening. These are the verbal reasoning questions which are tested in the logical reasoning section of JIPMAT. Thank you.